Hey guys, welcome back to another video on my channel. Today we're back in Tricky Trials Plus, and that is because update 4 is now released. Now before we jump to what's new in this update, I quickly just want to mention, this update is a lot smaller, and that is purely because we bumped into a lot of issues while developing this update. So this update is a lot smaller, and also talking about issues with development, I am looking for more people to help with mods. I will have a forum linked in the description that you guys can fill in if you are interested in helping. Now, helping means anything from textures, animations, sounds, and things like that. But once again, the forum will be linked in the description. But let's jump to what is new, because there are still some really good features in this update. So the first change we've made, and the first addition, is Mings. These were mobs that would spawn inside of caves. Well, they now have their own unique structure. And this is the Ming camp. Now another addition is you can still breed them with ancient roots. So if we grab some, there is a chance you can find them from the decorated pots. And there is also a chance you can find barrels with loot inside, which we haven't found inside of this structure. Now Mings, once you have tamed them, so let's quickly just tame this one. It will become a tamed mob, which will follow you around the world. So if I move around, you'll see that this Ming is following me. They're a little bit different to things like wolves, because if I now grab some tools and armor, so I'm going to grab a diamond sword, let's also grab a totem of undying, let's also grab a bow, and I also grabbed some armor. So now what I need to do is I need to right click the armor onto the mob, and it will use the armor. Now this gives it protection, so when it takes damage, the damage will be reduced, but the armor will be damaged, so over time the armor can break. And there is no way to get the armor back, so once you click armor onto the Ming, there is no way to get that armor back. And this is just so there is a downside to using Mings, as if you could kill them when the armor was about to break and then pick it up again, it would mean they are kind of OP. Now you can also give them a sword, so let's quickly just give him a sword, and let's also give him a totem of undying. Now if we was exploring, this Ming will fight for us and basically protect us. You cannot damage them if they are your Ming, so I cannot damage him now because he's technically mine. But for example, if a zombie was now to attack me, so here we go, the Ming will go for the zombie and kill it. You can also heal them, so if they take damage, you can heal them with ancient roots. And you can see right there, okay, that is a bug. It deleted the totem of undying. Armor-wise, they can wear anything from leather up to netherite. In their offhand, they can only have ancient roots or totem of undying. And in their main hand, they can either have sword, axes, or bows. Now, if they was to have a bow, let's quickly just head back over here. They will use that bow. So if I was to spawn a few zombies, let's spawn 3 of them, and these zombies were to hit me, you'll see that they'll use the bow and shoot at the zombies. And we think this is just a better use for the Mings. Rather than having them where they give you maps, the maps are still obtainable though. And how the maps are obtainable, inside of the Ming camp, there is a chance you can find safes or barrels. And inside them barrels, there is a chance you can find a mystery map. Now this mystery map can be right clicked to get a Ming Explorer map. And this Ming Explorer map will then lead you to a structure. But the reason we've done it so it gives you a mystery map is so you can open it whenever you would like. Let's say this is an old world and we don't want to open it here because we know there's going to be no structures here. We can then run thousands of blocks away and open the map to then get one for a different area. Or if you've travelled thousands of blocks away from your base, you can then reopen the mystery map when you're back at your base. So I just quickly want to show the final thing about the Mings is the chest. So if I break this, you can see the random items you can get inside of here. The items are mostly related to jungles. There can also be valuable items in here, but the mystery map is the main item you can get. The next change / new addition in this update is to do with the boss that spawns in the trial chamber, the trial knight. Now the first thing, we have updated the room it spawns in to make it a little bit more filled. As you can see, there is now a lot more here. There is also 2 spawners for breezes. There is also secrets in this room, which I'm not going to reveal just yet. But the spawners are breezes just to make fighting the boss a little bit harder. And the boss is now no longer spawning by default. To spawn the boss, you need 4 trial shards. Trial shards, just a quick reminder, can be gotten from any mob killed from a trial spawner. There's a 10% chance. Another change we have made to trial shards is the kill to get them has to be a player kill. So if they are killed by campfires, lava, or anything like that, they won't drop these anymore. So how you spawn the boss, you now click 4 of these on, and you can see it will power it. Once it's fully powered, you can click it to spawn the trial knight. And you can see the trial knight then does a spawning animation, and once it's spawned, it will adventure around the room. It does also now have a boss bar, and we have removed the look of the visual when it's damaged. Now, the boss does also have some improved attacks. It's a lot slower to begin with, but when it's aggroed, it will move a lot quicker. So the boss has 3 attacks. The first attack is these heavy core bullets. If they hit you, it will stun you for about 5 seconds, meaning that the boss can get a lot of damage in. It will shoot 3 of them out randomly. It also has a melee attack where it will hunt you down and just attack you with its hands. And the third and final attack is it will spawn copper spikes out of the floor, which will damage you if they hit you. Now, there is also a change to the drops of the boss. So if we quickly just take the boss out, it no longer drops heavy cores. The boss is definitely harder to fight now just because it's a lot more aggroed onto the player. You'll now get between 1 and 2 heavy scrap. And what can heavy scrap be used for? Well, it can be thrown in a crafting table with a obsidian, so 4 like that can give you a heavy core, so you can still obtain heavy cores from the Trail Knight. It's just a little bit harder. But heavy core isn't the only use for heavy scrap. If you combine it in a crafting table with 4 netherite scrap, you'll now get a heavy ingot. This heavy ingot can be used to make a new armor tier. So to craft this, you need a heavy upgrade smithing template, you need chainmail armor, and then you need a heavy ingot, and this will get you the heavy armor. Now, the textures for the armor could change in a future update, because this was a last minute decision to add this and balance it. Now, as for what the armor does, it's better than netherite in protection, but it's worse in durability. It has about the same durability as chainmail, but it does also have safe fall distance, meaning that when you have each piece of armor equipped, you will be able to fall 2 extra blocks without taking any fall damage. So now let me quickly just head to the surface so I can show this off a little bit better, because it can't really be shown inside of a cave. So by default, with no heavy armor, the safe fall distance is 3 blocks. So if I was to walk off this, I wouldn't take any fall damage. But if I was to walk off this, you can see I do take fall damage. Well, if I now equipped one of these, this fall distance will now be added 2 blocks. So if I was to walk off this, you can see I take no fall damage. If I was to make this one higher, I would take fall damage. So with a full set of heavy armor, you can survive a 12 block fall without taking any damage. So this is the 12th block I'm standing on. If I walk off this, you can see I take no fall damage. But if I was to walk off this 13th block, let's quickly just try it. You can see I do take fall damage. And this is just to link the armor in with the heavy core, because heavy cores craft maces which do more damage the amount you fall. Now let me quickly just cover one other feature which uses trial shards, and you can now craft trial bars. These are just like iron bars, but they use the trial shard texture. Now, these were meant to be used in another feature that we didn't actually add, but we decided not to remove them because they might have another use in the future. Now, let me quickly just cover some minor changes. Titanium now has a ore and a deep slate ore, and you can now find titanium naturally spawning within the world. It spawns most commonly, I think, between -30 and 0, but it only spawns inside of biomes where you can find tricky chambers, so you've got to make sure to explore to them biomes for it. Now, when breaking this is a unique ore. So this is the first ore that don't require you to use any smelting or anything like that. Now, before we jump to a new structure, I want to quickly just talk about a change to the Redstone Mine. The main purpose of this is a mine that has a load of redstone resources. So if you're a redstone player, then you can get a load more redstone a lot quicker. And the change here is when you find redstone like this, there is a chance it can be infested redstone, and upon breaking this, it will spawn a new mob. Now, the chance of it spawning, this one is infested, so if I break it, you can see it breaks a lot quicker, and the mob it spawns is the stealth. Now, this mob has no unique functions at the moment, and more unique functions will probably come in a future update, but not every single redstone ore is infested. Like, as you can see, this one is normal. This stealth will dig back into redstone ore, though, if it don't have a player that it can kill. So after a while, it'll dig back into redstone ore, making it infested again. But they are just here to add a little bit more to this structure, because the structure didn't have much apart from the redstone beasts. And once again, we'll probably give them a better function in a future update, but now we just want to hear feedback if they make the structure better or worse. Now, there is a second mob inside of this update, and this mob can be found in the ancient cities. When you activate a Skulk Shrieker, if it's before warning level of 4, so warning levels 1 to 3, there is a chance it can spawn a Grunter. Now, if I quickly just find where this grunter is, it's right there. This grunter is the new way to obtain the echo key, just because we wanted to move it away from the warden. So once you have a grunter spawned, the way you get the key is just by killing it. There is a 50% chance when you kill a grunter that they'll drop a echo key. Now, the grunter has to be a adult. There is also a chance for babies to spawn, and you cannot get keys from babies, although you can speed up their growth with skulk sensors. Another change we've made: the ancient city vault, the woodland mansion vault, the end city vault, the prismarine fortress vault, and also the bastion vault. All of the updated loot tables. The loot in them now more matches the structure, and there are a lot more items to pick from, so they're a little bit more rewarding when you open them. Another small change we have made is any mob that is affected by the echo flail when you hit will now show a heart particle made of skulk. Another change is all the elemental shafts can now be waterlogged, so you can now decorate with them underwater. And another suggested feature we got: the player detector, if it is placed on top of a wall block, it will no longer make any sound. Now, we have added a new block in this update, and this is the launcher block. Now, the launcher block can only be crafted, and I'll cover the crafting recipe in a second. But what this block does is it launches any entity that stands on it up, and it launches them up between 5 and 12 blocks. Now, there is a cooldown, so when it launches you, there is a 15-second cooldown between launches. And the thing about this launcher block is it don't only launch players. It can also launch any entity that stands on it, and it can also launch any item entity that is thrown on it. Now, the crafting recipe for the launcher is 5 cobblestone, a breeze rod, a redstone core, and Heart of the Beast. Heart of the Beast is dropped from the redstone beast inside of the redstone mine, and the redstone core is dropped inside of the labyrinth. Now, before we jump to the 2 final changes, I want to cover something with the Blitz, and this is the effect you get when the Blitz shoots its earth charges at you. And this is the stunned effect. Now, you can get a stunned effect from the Blitz, or you can also get it from the Trial Knight. And when you now have the stunned effect, 2 changes have been made. First of all, your screen no longer zooms in, so your FOV doesn't change. The second change is you will now have this spinning particle above your head, so other players can see if you are stunned or not. Now, along with this, we have made a complete overhaul to the Blitz dungeon. We got a lot of feedback of people saying this was very underwhelming. There is a chance for it to spawn floors, and the smallest it can be is 1 floor. The maximum it can be is 20 floors. It always spawn with this piece at the bottom here, which is like a broken down mine shaft with a Blitz spawner in the center. But before you get down to the Blitz spawner, you have to basically fight other mobs inside of little corner rooms. These mobs can be skeletons, spiders, or zombies, and there's also a chance that they can spawn with loot. The loot you find is just random caving items, so things like ores, cobblestone, and maybe some food. Now, this structure is very random. The amount of floors that spawn are random, the rotation of the floors are random, the ladders being broken is random, the walls being broken is random. The only thing that isn't random about the structure is this bottom part. This bottom part will always be the same, and that's purely just because this is where the Blitz spawns. And we want it so when a player walks into the structure, they know exactly where the Blitz spawns without having to guess. Now, the final change inside of this update, which I'm going to quickly mention, we have added 5 new tricky chamber rooms. Now, I'm not going to show all 5 off because I want you guys to explore and find some of the new ones. I will put a list on screen of the players whose rooms have made it in, and we will be adding more rooms in the future. This is just a start. So this is one of the custom rooms right here. Here is also another one. So these are the 2 I'm going to show, but there are still 3 more that you guys can uncover and explore yourselves. Now, one final thing I want to mention in this video is we are currently in the process of adding custom sounds. Now, I'm recording this way after I recorded the rest of the video. I'm not sure how many sounds will make it into the full release of version 4, but it is something we're working on for all future versions as well, so everything within the mod feels a bit more unique. Now, some current sounds that are in is custom sounds for the Bubbles mob. The Trial Knight also now has custom sounds as well, and also the Blitz mob has custom sounds. There are still some other mobs subtitles inside of the subtitles bar, and this will be something we add to every update. But anyway, that is it for update 4. It's a lot smaller than we would have liked, but that is just because we bumped into a lot of issues while developing it. Once again, if you guys are interested in helping us with the Tricky Trials Plus mod, do fill in the forum that is linked in the description, and also let us know what feedback and suggestions you have for this update. If you did enjoy, do leave a like and subscribe. Once again, the mod can be downloaded in the description, and I guess I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!